Hi there, meteorologist Lisa Green with a quick update on our latest survey results from the tornadoes that occurred and the severe weather that occurred on June 20th and on Friday. Yesterday we went over some of the preliminary reports coming in, and later in the day we got some of those tornado surveys released. And so I just wanted to follow up and make sure that we continue to update you on the latest information. So I'm going to go to our graphics here and again take a look at our latest tornado report. So let's take a look at the graphics on the map here. You can see most of Friday's tornadoes occurred in North Dakota, southeastern North Dakota especially, and then Sunday there were a few more tornado reports from some more storms that went through there. So let's get to the latest surveys here. So we've had more come out from the National Weather Service in Grand Forks. And you may have heard there have been 2 tracks reported in the Enderlin area. I'm going to use my pointer here so we can kind of orient ourselves. There's Enderlin right there. And so we had one track that was this orange track like this. That is the EF3 tornado that, of course, we have highly focused on. This is the one that was the deadly tornado that went through just south and east of Enderlin. And then, of course, there's that other tornado track that we're going to be taking a look at as well here shortly. But let's first talk about that survey on the first tornado, the one that moved through the Enderlin area just south and east of town. So this was rated, and this is preliminary. There could be more damage reports, more assessments that come through that change the rating on this. But this was rated preliminary an EF3 storm, and that means that we saw estimated peak winds in that 160 mile per hour range. The estimated path, as we just saw on that map there, is about 12 miles long. The width at its widest point about 1 mile wide. So I'm going to go back to that track again, and you can see where it was widest in that area in orange there. That is right here, again, just to the south and east of Enderlin, where we saw its widest path, and then you can see it became smaller as it moved northward. Okay, let's go back to that track and analysis here. So it started about 3 miles south of Enderlin at about 11:02, and then moved to the southwest to Alice, or to move to, 4 miles southwest of Alice at 11:21 p.m. So that lasted for almost 20 minutes. The EF3 damage was noted along about 7.5 miles of the total path. And south of Highway 46, you've seen the photos, train cars derailed, one thrown around 300 feet, a cell tower was blown over, crops destroyed, large trees snapped. Then north of Highway 46, a farmhouse leveled. That did result in, of course, we've been hearing about the unfortunate tragic deaths of 3 people, 2 fatalities at one location, and another farmhouse was leveled, resulting in another fatality. Tall steel electrical transmission towers were also bent with this storm. So this was the first tornado. The second one is the one in green there that you can see stretches from north of Enderlin, closer to the Alice area, well, between Enderlin and Alice, we'll say here, and then it tracked to the southeast, closer to the Leonard area, or just to the south and west of Leonard in this storm. So again, let's take a look at the details on the track on the second tornado. This one rated an EF1 preliminarily. Estimated peak winds 110 miles per hour, path length 8 miles, and its width was a half mile. And this moved from 4 miles northeast of Enderlin at 11:22, and then moved down toward the northeast of Sheldon, 4 miles east-northeast of Sheldon. And that was at 11:34. So that was between Sheldon and Leonard. And then the reports coming in, extensive tree damage, several roofs partially blown apart, and this tornado crossed the path of the first tornado, as you saw in that graph there. So those were the 2 tornadoes in the Enderlin area. This one happened after the first, a larger tornado. And now there's 2 more tracks that the National Weather Service laid out for us. You can see them here on this map. That is in Barnes County, and we've got both tracks here along I-94. I should say Barnes and Stutzman County. This right here, That red line, that's the Stutzman-Barnes County line. Here's Spiritwood. And so you can see that tornado started near Spiritwood and then kind of curled northeast and tracked in that direction. And then the second tornado in Barnes County, here's Valley City. And that tornado tracked south of Valley City. So let's take a look at the first track on this. This one, again, is, let's see if we can get our graphics to move forward. There we go. This is the Valley City tornado, that second one south of town. This was rated an EF2 with estimated peak winds of 130 miles per hour, moved 5 miles southwest of Valley City at about 9:29 p.m. And then from there, that's where it touched down, through to 3 miles south of Valley City at about 9:49. And the damage listed here, tree damage near homes, minor roof siding, shingle damage to 2 homes, a collapsed garage and roof porch damage to 1 of the homes. West of Cheyenne River, widespread tree damage, 4 homes damaged. 1 of the homes had collapsed exterior walls on the top floor, and the roof destroyed, garage destroyed, carport and shed partially destroyed. So those were a list of a lot of the damage that occurred with that tornado. So a lot of people and property impacted here by this one. And then the second tornado, so that was the first one. That was this tornado. As soon as that stops moving, that was this tornado here. Now we're going to talk about the Spiritwood tornado. We'll skip past that Valley City one and then look west toward Spiritwood. Again, this started in eastern parts of Stutzman County, 2 miles northeast of Spiritwood at 8:50, and then tracked to the Urbana area, 3 miles northwest of Urbana is where it lifted at 9:17. This is rated an EF2, again preliminary, and estimated peak winds of 130 miles per hour. 1 home lost the first floor, aside from interior walls, and Morton steel shed destroyed, smaller sheds destroyed, multiple vehicles damaged, at least 3 vehicles rolled and thrown a quarter mile after being crushed. One thing to note, that the EF scale is not based on vehicles, or for that matter, we talked about that the train cars that were thrown, not based off of those. It's more based on more structured things like buildings, or for example trees that are rooted in the ground here. So we can't make an assessment based on that, but that was, again, some of the damage that occurred, and in this instance several vehicles were thrown about a quarter mile and crushed. Tree and crop damage, another home hit, outer walls collapsed, and a nearby barn was destroyed. So those are the 4 new tornado surveys that came out. Continuing to assess these again as we're going through time. We'll continue to get more reports in and pass those along to you. Here's just a tornado, that one of the photos that was taken west of Valley City on June 20th. Thank you, Mark, for sharing that. One thing I want to pass along is a question was asked of the National Weather Service. We're hearing from more folks about I have damage at my house. Why hasn't there been a survey done here? Nobody's been here to check out my damage. Well, there's just so much of it, a lot of damage out there, and there's only so many people with the National Weather Service able to go out and do surveys. They're sifting through photos, they're sifting through videos, they are coordinating with folks who are aware of the damage, whether it is the people who live in those areas, or perhaps law enforcement who noted the damage, or emergency management people. They're coordinating with all of these groups to get the big picture, and then be able to maybe decide to go out and survey, or be able to determine based on the pictures that they're seeing what kind of damage there was. So this is going to take some time. They're going to continue to, I'm just reading some of their response here, they're going to continue to investigate more tornadoes that have been reported. There are a few brief tornadoes that they're still going to be investigating, so I anticipate more tornado surveys coming out, or at least reports coming out about tornadoes that touched down with the tornadoes that developed. And then just because of the widespread nature of the storm, sometimes it can be tough. They had those straight line winds that in some instances were even stronger than some of the tornadic circulations going on. It can be tough to determine with the embedded tornadoes in there to develop. So it's going to be tough to kind of parse those out. And then, they'll be doing some surveys as well of those areas too, where we have the straight line wind damage. So again, going to take weeks and involve a lot of people, and it's going to be a little bit before we get that full, final, big picture on this event because of the intensity, because of the scope of it. I mean, the derecho, the straight line wind event, went from Jamestown all the way to Bemidji. So, I mean, both ends of our viewing area were included in that, and everywhere in between. So we'll continue to, of course, bring these updates to you as we get them. And again, I'm working on a web story that I'll continue to update over time with the latest reports to get a comprehensive scope, a comprehensive view of what happened on Friday. One other thing I want to mention here is just looking ahead in the forecast. We do have another first alert weather day, just raised it this morning for this coming Friday. We're looking out for the potential for severe weather Friday evening. So it seems we're in a little bit of a pattern here where we're going to heat up and then see that potential for storms occurring Friday night. I'm hoping we don't see what we saw on this past Friday, looking out for more straight line wind kind of situation, some hail, but still it's something we're going to be watching and keeping you up to date about. We'll be first alerting you for it all week. And of course, as we get closer, we'll have more details on where severe is more likely, timeline on it, that sort of thing coming up. So stay tuned, and we'll continue to monitor the situation for you. You can always check for the latest information and check that story on valleynewslive.com, and you can go to the Valley News Live Facebook page and, of course, the VNL Weather app for the latest info.